Is the Bible a perfectly complete book?
I would say it's not.
Oh. To be continued. Goddamn.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome to Fernando's Godcast. And I'm really excited about my two guests here. We have a very special guest, Pastor Philip Jones. He has an incredible story, just an incredible human being, writer, publisher, pastor, counselor. And to my left here, Marcus Gill. What do you do?
I'm your degenerate friend. You and I talk.
Friend of mine.
We make my girlfriend jealous because we're always on the phone. I'm talking about business stuff. Yeah.
And I do even less than him. So welcome.
Yeah.
We're going to have a great time here. No. So Marcus here is a sales guru, sales trainer, published author.
That's fair.
And just a great friend, great human being.
Thanks.
So, and very talented, very creative. And I just brought everyone here. I wanted to start where we finished off. Our last conversation, you asked a question and the way I answered it, I think you'll find interesting. And I just want to pick so I could explain to my church people that are going to see this what I actually meant. Do you want to state the question?
So we ended the last show by I asked, we were debating back and forth. I go, Fern, is the Bible a complete book? And we had another guest here and he instantly said yes. And I thought Fern was instantly going to say yes, but your answer was?
I don't think it is.
And then we're like, what? And then we're out of time on the show.
Okay, so here's what I want to explain. The message of the Bible is a complete message.
Okay.
The story and the narrative that's in the Bible is an incomplete story. I'm going to explain it in two ways. You can jump in there. So when the Torah was given to Moses on Mount Sinai, most biblical scholars would agree that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. Some don't. We'll just go with the idea that Moses did write it, and he got all that material from Mount Sinai when he was up getting the 10 Commandments, right? Now, along with that, with what he wrote down, with what God was speaking to the people, and that he physically wrote down, there was a lot that God told him that was an oral communication to Moses. And that oral tradition was handed down along with the Torah, which was a written communication. And, some people, and the Jewish culture, revered that oral tradition as much as they did the written traditions that were handed down. And, there's people that do and do not. Another example, today we read the Bible and then there's ministers and preachers and teachers that expand. So there's an oral tradition, even in the New Covenant, in the New Testament, that is just as valuable as the written word. Our friend that was here last week, he grew up Seventh-day Adventist, and they are of the idea that you don't interpret the Bible, you just read it exactly what it is, word for word. And that's where all the inspiration is. Anything outside of that, be fearful of heresy. However, that's not how, the Jewish culture, the Jewish community, handed down God's word. And God speaks to us in so many different ways that are not written down.
Sure.
The last thing I'll say about it is in the book of John, at the end of the book of John, he wrote that if everything that Jesus did was written down, there wouldn't be enough books in the entire world that can fill those books with what he did.
Okay.
But what has been given is enough for you to believe, is written for you to believe. So again, the message of the Bible, complete. Literally in the alphabet of the Bible, you get the entire message of the entire Bible. If you know what each letter meant in Hebrew,
sure,
you'll get the entire gospel message just in the alphabet that the Bible was written in. So is the story, it's not complete. It was never meant to be an exhaustive truth. Even Genesis is not an exhaustive truth of what exactly happened in there. It skips generations when it's giving the genealogies. Mm-hmm. That's what I meant by it's not a complete book, because it's not a complete story. There's a lot that's not in there. So let's take this theme of relationship with the Lord, and we can apply it to human relationships, and dating relationships, and marriage relationships. What's good, why they work, why they don't work, who we are. Maybe the inner work. I definitely want to talk about this idea that you brought to the table, the shadow work, and how we face our own dark side, and then when we bring that into a relationship, you know, how that affects the relation, our dark side, our light, our dark side. When we bring that into another relationship with another, you know, female in our case, what happens? Like, why does it work? Why do we self-sabotage? Those times where we're not, those times where we're actually flowing and everything's going well, what are those elements in there? What are those ingredients that are making it work? Maybe we can codify it. Maybe we can see where, the reason I'm bringing it up selfishly is because I'm doing some counseling right now with my girlfriend, and I was discovering a lot of things with the counselor. And I think maybe a lot of people shy away from relationships or end relationships too soon or stay in relationships too long because they don't know how to navigate those waters. That's why I brought you guys to the table here. I know you have a lot of experience. Can you tell us, before we dig into the meat and potatoes, a little bit of your background? You know, you're a published author. You could tell us a little bit about that. And then, you know, your counseling background and just big picture.
Sure. So the ministry that I've been blessed to lead is called From Fear to Faith. And the fundamental truth of From Fear to Faith is that the premise is that, Fernando, that fear is our common problem. Faith is our common solution. But how to get from one to the other is what most of us don't know how to do, all right? So with that premise in mind, having had some personal problems that I had to deal with for years and years and years in a marriage, in ministry, as a pastor, but no different than that woman at the well.
Okay.
You know, I had an issue, and I had an issue. Now, a problem, real quickly, is what we have internally.
Okay.
An issue is when that internal problem is not contained.
And it comes out.
Okay?
Like a meltdown or whatever, right? Okay. I got that. I like that.
And it makes any relationship that much harder.
Okay.
Because she or he is dealing with the issues of the other one.
Okay.
So the Lord spoke to me and told me how to get from where I was to where he wanted me to be. And that's the premises of going from fear to faith.
Okay.
Wow. So you were sharing, you know, From Fear to Faith, the brand, the book. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
So the book is a 7-day read. It's only in PDF, all right? So I'll get it to the both of you. It's a 7-day read, and at the end of each book, it requires us to have a day of meditation to get to the next step. It's 5 steps to go from fear to faith. The first step being that we admit where we are.
Okay.
The second step is prayer, so on and so forth. So each chapter kind of conveys and pulls out that particular thought. So by the end of the book, you'll be very familiar what it means to actually go from fear to faith with a biblical premise.
Okay.
Also, you'll love the part that the analogy of this is that when we're looking at a video, a TV, we're looking at thousands of frames per second.
Yep.
There are moments of darkness between each frame. Okay?
Yeah.
But to the naked eye, because there's so many pictures in each frame, you don't perceive it. Okay? Well, when we go from fear to faith, all right, the moments that we are not actively in faith, those are the dark moments. I think you mentioned that, all right? Some of us stay stuck there. Some of us have been there all of their life.
Yeah.
But because there's so many people there with you, it feels normal. Not to be confusing. And the majority of us are stuck there in depression, but we're also stuck there in addictions.
Right.
Okay? Because the addictions kind of anesthetize the void.
Hopefully. Well, depending on how you see it. But yeah, I'm literally just thinking this. I feel like the solutions on the surface of, I'll just stick with Western culture, American culture. It's I call it MTV Spring Break junk food, and it's fun and shiny or whatever. But just like, it's sickening over time. The body just gets so sick, and it's the darkest of dark because if you're not on that shiny surface anymore, no one can help you because they don't even know how to help themselves.
Right.
But I love what you just said. I've never heard that before. not only stuck in darkness, but you're stuck in darkness with a bunch of other people, and so it becomes normal. Like, that's good, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's good. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do
And,
it.
and let me add to this, that addiction.
Yeah.
Religion is one of those addictions.
Oh, that's my. So I have an alibi to not, and I will still be. I'll be clear. Christianity just it hasn't gelled with me. I'm not trying to start that argument or anything like that. But one of my biggest alibis to not work on myself or face my own shadows.
Sure.
Is I count one that it's like, man, you're a great example. Not to put all that pressure on you, but you are, and you're a good friend to me, and you're the least judgmental human being I know.
Right.
Infinite number of people who now do their same regular, you know what I mean? And that's why I was like, I had this epiphany in the past year or two. I go, oh, Christianity is a religion in general, but Christianity specifically, it's a social club.
For many people, it is.
Yeah. Not to put everyone there, but for many people.
it is. And again, so these addictions that we have, religion being one of them, food is another one of them, gambling is another one of them, sex is another one of them, drugs is another one of them, money is another one of them. Okay, so there are many things that we do to try to dull the pain of being in this dark place.
Is it fair to say, Pastor, that each one of those addictions correlate and connect directly to or indirectly to a specific fear? Like, hey, if I have a gambling addiction, it's probably not that I like to gamble, it's that I have this fear over here, which manifests itself. The fruit of it is
yes and no.
Gambling.
Yes and no, but you're speaking more of phobias.
Okay.
And that's a different fear. But you're right, because fear is the topic, but these phobias are subtopics. Okay. But I think that so
I guess what I'm trying to get at is what is at the root? What you think, is there a common denominator? Because I'm always looking for common denominators in life to addiction. Like we mentioned several addictions like sex, money, food, social media.
Well, no, so the common denominator is fear itself.
Okay, underneath the addictions? Is that
absolutely
correct? Okay.
Absolutely, that's a good question. We were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. All of us. Okay? Right. That is the disposition of humanity.
Right.
Okay? When God asked Adam, where are you? What did he say? I heard your voice and I was afraid.
Because I was naked.
I heard your voice and I was afraid.
Oh, right. So that was the first symptom of the sin, or one of the symptoms.
That's the symptom of being separated from Christ.
Yeah.
Separated from fellowship. Separated from life. Okay? So what did he do? He tried to cover himself up.
Sure.
He grabbed fig to cover himself up. Some of us grab alcohol to cover ourselves up.
Okay.
Some of us grab work to cover ourselves up. So we grab what is closest to us, and therein lies the addiction, because it's an insatiable attraction, albeit never as good as the first time. We're all trying to get back to that first time we grabbed what we grabbed.
Yep.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
If it was sex, the first thing you reach for in that dark moment, you'll keep using sex.
Okay, I'm getting it now. There's something underneath the fear. It starts with separation.
Absolutely.
So there's a separation in ideas. It could be a separation under the context of relationships. So we're going to get into the meat and potatoes. I think we're getting there now. So underneath the fear, the symptom is addiction. Underneath the addiction, there's a root of fear.
Absolutely.
Underneath the root of fear, there was a separation at some point. We separated. We diverged. Opinion, ideas, we diverged. I wanted to get away from you. There was some kind of wall which created the fear. Because what we are away from, the more I step away from you, the more I don't know you, the more I could be afraid of you. Like the less I know of something, the more ignorant I'm going to be, the more fearful I'm going to be.
There's another flavor to that too, which is the very social person that has the perfect life, and all of a sudden you hear they committed suicide or whatever. Or it's even without taking it to that extreme, it's they have tons of friends. I have tons of friends, but there's no depth, so I hop.
Friend hopping.
Yeah, well, it's just like, and it could be at the same time. So I have 10 friends, but our conversations are short and sweet. And the second, if you're a person of depth who's asking me something,
well,
you know what I mean?
What you're describing is a social butterfly.
In a way, yeah. In a way,
people
yeah.
who are addicted to the social gathering.
But in order to not connect,
Right.
that's what I'm getting to.
Interesting.
Right.
Okay. That's how they keep their.
So getting back to the Bible, though, you do understand that what he is disconnected from, what Adam was disconnected from, was life.
The tree of life. Well, I thought it was the tree of knowledge. Was it the tree of knowledge?
There's two trees.
Okay.
No one
Absolutely.
talks about the tree of life. They
Bingo.
always talk about the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Bingo. So he was disobeying life. He wasn't feeding from life. He wasn't feeding from truth. He wasn't feeding from peace. He wasn't feeding from joy. He wasn't feeding from, you follow what I'm saying?
No,
And the two F's represent the two trees: fear, the knowledge of good and evil, and then life, faith.
Bingo.
What do you think?
Bingo. So, and how does that tie into relationships? I guess that's where, because when I'm embracing a good relationship, I'm embracing life. And the beauty of life, you know what the beauty of life is?
What's that?
Is in the things that we are not in control of.
Oh,
Can you make that more tangible?
The sky is a beautiful experience. You know why? Because I'm not in control of it.
and I don't barely understand it. And
Yes. An azalea blooming in the springtime in
Okay.
Houston. It's a beautiful experience. You know
Okay.
why? 'Cause I'm not in control of that. The bluebonnet
Yeah.
that only grows in the state of Texas. It's the state flower of Texas.
Yeah.
Not of California.
Interesting.
It's a beautiful thing. You know why? Because I'm not in control of it.
Okay.
When you're in a good relationship,
you stole my thunder. That's where I was going.
when you're in a good relationship, you're not trying to control the other person. Pretty is an appearance, beauty is an experience. In
That's
a good relationship, you're enjoying the beauty of the relationship, which means that you're enjoying the beauty of the person you're in the relationship with.
That sounds beautiful. You had me at the nature part, but in relationships that I've seen today, it's like I'm quoting some of my favorite movies, like Casino. With you seen Casino?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you seen Casino? And it's like Robert De Niro sitting down with Sharon Stone. He's like, we need to get married because he wants to have this connection, wants to start a family with her. And she's like, name 3 couples. She goes, basically, I'm paraphrasing. She goes, do you know any happily married couples?
Right.
Right. Now, that's obviously not in a church setting but I can't think of a ton of, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess so I'm not making a statement. It's really more of a question. What is your definition, as tangible as possible, what your definition is of a beautiful, monogamous Christian relationship?
So you do understand that the problem with answering your question is that you've put too many qualifiers on it.
Okay, well, the qualifiers.
Every qualifier that you put on it took away from the beauty of it.
So you just got to embrace the chaos, is what you're saying.
Think about the nature of women. Think about the nature of women.
Hang on.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's not chaos.
Okay.
It's only chaos because you're trying to control it.
Well, chaos can happen without me trying to control it, right? I mean, we can watch cars pile up in front of me.
What we define as I'm going to say what we define as chaos is actually beauty. The universe looks chaotic because we don't understand it.
Okay.
Right. The chandelier looks. It's not chaotic because we understand it. A woman. What do we know? Even what did Einstein say about women? There's like 2 mysteries. 1 is quantum theory, and 2 is women that I'll never understand.
Right.
And he also called marriage insane because it's like enslaves 2 people.
Sure. Okay. Well, there's 2 ways to handle chaos. 1, trying to control it, which will make you crazy, and I'm never gonna. Which is why most relationships you're pointing to, most relationships fail. If this was a product or a service, I wouldn't buy it. Right?
I like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to speak his language because I do get his language.
Yeah.
So,
But women are that chaos in this universe that I see this in my life. When you said that, I had an epiphany. Most of the chaos that happens between me and my girl is because she's being chaotic and I want to control it. And then I want to separate. And then she gets afraid, then I get afraid, and then addiction. But it all started with trying to control the chaos of who she is instead of understanding her beauty and just enjoying it.
very well.
I want to
said,
say
sir.
one sentence in that because I want to hear. It's enjoying the chaos, not a problem. The demands of the chaos Literally, I'm being funny, but I'm serious.
for it.
You're comfortable. You'll settle in. Fern, you know what I mean? That it's the demands of the chaos calling you in to do something, and I'm speaking literally. And
Okay. So-
you know what I
so
mean?
let me
The
help-
sky doesn't do that. The sky.
It kind of does. Oh, it does. Like today, we were trying to get here at a certain time, but because of the weather, chaos, we had to leave a little earlier. Meaning, the sky is not going to conform to us. We have to. If I want to go to war with the sky, I'm going to be a very frustrated human being, and the sky being a metaphor for anything that's chaotic in this world that I try to control, including women. In my opinion, I see a lot of the damage I cause, dysfunction, is because I wanted to control the woman, make her conform to my structured analytical mind. And she's beauty, she's art, she's the sky, she's the cloud, she's the rain, you know. Sorry, I just went off
No,
on that
you're good.
tangent.
That's
but-
good. So you still have a good question on the table.
Okay.
And that is, how do I define
A good
a
relationship.
good relationship?
Sure.
The fundamental
Or healthy. Maybe that's a better word. Healthy. Whatever. Right.
The fundamental thing that makes a relationship good is friendship.
I believe that. Yeah, I get, but that's still
That's
a
not
general
a but.
term.
It's not a but, because I think that the same way you brought in chaos, what you're saying is, I need to control it in order for me to be successful in it.
Well, you started this off with something that I really resonated with, which is peace. The guy sitting on the bench at peace. And I don't think chaos necessarily brings peace when it's pulling you in.
Because you keep calling it chaos.
No, I didn't say that. I think you guys said that, didn't I?
No.
Did I introduce chaos?
You did. You did.
We have to
No,
run
but
that tape back.
No, but it's okay. Because I think we all can agree that there's chaotic things in the universe and in life and in relationships that at least appear chaotic when we don't understand them.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo.
Okay.
So to answer your question, friendship
Okay.
does not seek to understand the person.
Okay.
Friendship seeks to help the person. In such, friendship embraces the moments to help the person.
That's okay. I get that. I really do.
And when friendship embraces the moments to help the person, the relationship stays healthy. You ever notice that when you first meet someone, she's pretty being an appearance, beauty being an experience. She's pretty.
Yeah.
You are attracted to the kind of pretty she is.
Sure.
And there's a friendship there. It's like the most blissful time of it, because you just want to help her. And you want to
Help her? I don't know. I don't. You have to define help for me, because I don't know if I can relate to that part. If I just want to help, I'm trying to get there, but I
Like
want
you want to make her life easier.
Bingo.
Like
if you're attracted
That's true.
to
That's true.
if you're attracted to someone,
Yeah, that's true.
why would you not want to help them?
Yeah, the first thing I did was
Accomplish your goals.
100%.
Am I right?
No, you're
Okay.
right. You're right. You're
So
right.
here's where it gets challenging, is when the friend levies compliances on you. I'll give an example. You say, "It was good seeing you today. I'll call you tomorrow when I get off work."
Okay.
You get off work, you do a few other things, let me get myself settled in. You call her at 8. She says, "I thought you were going to call me when you got off work."
Okay.
Okay? Because in her mind, what you said was, you're going to call her when you got off work. What you meant was, when I get settled in, I'm going to call you.
You think it's
Okay.
implied, basically, like it's just,
in man language.
Stay with me. Stay
okay.
with me.
Okay.
The moment she says, "I thought you were going to do X, Y, and Z," you're out of compliance. The relationship is no longer friendly.
What is it now?
It's,
A little separation.
yeah,
We can go back to that.
you're no longer in, and this is another part of it too, you're no longer in a place of being human. You're being subservient. How do I know that? Because no one wants to be controlled.
Absolutely.
No one wants to be controlled. No one wants to be oppressed. No one wants to be subservient to another one. That does not mean I don't want to serve you, but the minute I think that service is a demand from you,
I have to do it. Yeah.
it's no longer friendly.
It's something else. Yeah.
Not to bring this into it, but that was the problem with the old covenant. It was demand.
Bingo.
It was demand oriented.
Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo.
The new
it
covenant
was
is
a taskmaster.
Totally.
It
And
was
then-
a taskmaster.
And then Christ came and washed our feet.
Yes. Okay.
It's like how anything he says.
And introduce grace.
Right.
And introduce grace. And grace says the same thing love says. I'm going to love you where you are from where I am. That is friendly.
Oh,
Hence, I no longer call you servant, but I call you friend.
Okay.
I am a friend of God, Abraham says. He calls me friend. The creator of the universe chooses to speak to me face to face and call me friend. I have my best conversations with my boo when I speak to her face to face.
Okay.
And we are friends.
Okay.
Not with the weight of compliance.
yeah. Get back to that a little bit. Tie that one in. Tie that back
We
in.
talk face to face. Our words get in the way of what we're saying because we're too busy communicating face to face. Her eyes tell me where she is. Her facial expression tells me where she is. And the words that are in our Webster's dictionary disrupt the friendship.
Because words are imperfect symbols.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They are utterly meaningless
Yeah.
until you know the person who's using the words.
Absolutely
wow.
right.
Okay?
Absolutely
Like
right.
in sales, we call it rapport.
Bingo.
Breaking rapport.
Absolutely.
Breaking.
Or some place of commonality.
Sure.
Where we are transferring enthusiasm. So, how do I describe a perfect relationship? It's friendship.
Okay.
It's friendship.
And then what is friendship? is,
But unfortunately, in our Western culture, you use that word, friendship is a default.
default.
Well, it's an insult now. Your friend zone. You know, the
Bingo,
whole,
there you go.
absolutely, yeah.
good.
This is not where I intended on being. I'm trying to be Mac Daddy super lover, but I ended up just being a friend.
Well, it's gotten worse now. Are you familiar with MGTOW?
No.
Oh man. Okay, that's a whole other show. MGTOW means men going their own way. It's a rapidly increasing movement.
Okay.
And it means exactly that. It's men who, some of them are called in a monk mode. Basically, I'll keep it short as possible, which
That's
is
okay.
that a man believes that in today's world, as of now, if you weigh the pros and cons of being in a committed relationship, especially marriage and cohabitation, it is no longer worth the price of admission. Between the divorce rate, people getting screwed over, et cetera,
Gotcha.
right? So they have a group, so a segment of them, and there's different ways of doing it. There's even arguing amongst themselves about what it means, but one of them is called monk mode, where it's
as in a monk.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, I
And, you know,
missed
yeah,
that. Okay.
exactly.
Like
So-
they
so-
become monks? They
Like
literally
no,
become
like not monks. They just don't associate with women unless they absolutely have to.
Okay.
No dating, no whatever, no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And therein they are rejecting life.
They're rejecting something because as logically pleasing as it is, because you're going to talk about control, that's really what that's rooted in, is control. And they have very valid arguments. I'm not MGTOW. Obviously, I have a girlfriend that I live with. But their arguments are valid. If we want to talk about relationships now, people who want to get married in the whole love and the traditional thing, that think, because I'm 42, you're 45, we know, right? Like a time before these guys who are 20s and 30s now, they've got women who are the most aggressive I've ever seen that are bragging about getting half, taking the child support, getting $50,000 in child support. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the guys are like the generation of that, and divorced. They're like, no, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not playing anymore.
I get that. But I want us to be clear on what, to get back to your question.
Sure.
It's friendship.
Friendship, sure.
It's friendship. And when the friendship is healthy, there's no fear. When the friendship is healthy, you are as alive can be.
I just don't know how that looks now because I hear the words. I just don't know what that looks like now.
You see, that's what I'm trying to get at here as well. There's moments where I'm sure you do experience it with your girlfriend, even moments, even seconds, minutes, right? So there might be.
I'm not talking about me. I'm asking for a friend.
I'm just kidding. It's for all of us. Like, because I look at my own life. Like, I'm looking at my own life. There's times where it's very blissful and we're flowing back and forth. She's happy. That's my barometer. If she's happy, I must be doing something right. And then as long as I don't feel like taken advantage of, fine. I feel happy. If she's happy and I don't feel taken advantage of, I feel like that's my barometer for things are going well between me and her.
But
that's
where's the
my barometer?
But is that equality?
That's my barometer.
Okay, gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
That's when I feel good.
Fair. Gotcha.
Now the thing is, what disrupts that? What disrupts it, and then what were the elements that made that moment happen, even if it's for a second?
Okay.
I think all of us, as dysfunctional as our relationships could be, there's moments, even in the most dysfunctional, where things are going well. And what are those elements? What do you guys think?
Well, you said that's your barometer, but I don't know how to talk about it unless I use some reference to your scale and we're talking about it. And I appreciate you sharing that because you said something that really struck me, and I love you for it. Now, and this is why I was excited for you coming on. So Fern and I were talking in our last night in one of our short 5-minute turn 1 hour conversations, and he said something about the shows about where he wanted to do relationships, and he said, if you don't mind me sharing,
yeah, go ahead.
I want to connect, but I don't know how. And that really struck me because I go, yeah. And I know that's a pretty common problem, but I was frustrated because I felt like in a lot of ways I had built up a tool set of things to be okay with that. But his vulnerability and being honest about it showed me that, yeah, you can do this. Like, you can drink the beer, right? You can eat the food or whatever. Things are great on the surface, but connection means vulnerable. It means being in the unknown. You know what I mean? And I have to admit, okay, do I want to die and not know how to connect? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I want to grow old and die and not know how to connect with another person?
So listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
That was a choice. Do I want to, listen to what you said.
Yeah.
Do I want to die?
Oh, back to the F and the, like,
bingo. Back, see,
the tree of life.
It gets back to, no, I want to live. Well, in this case, you actually live by dying.
Oh.
You live according to his will by dying according to your will.
Yeah, I heard it said like this the other day. When we get married, there's a reason they call it the altar. Because on the altar in the Old Testament, that's where you sacrifice. That's where it represents, I'm dying to my old life of being single, whatever I meant, and I'm stepping into, it's kind of like the baptism.
Right.
It's at the altar. So it's, again, life and death.
Right. So we make choices, good point. We make choices to live. We make choices to breathe life into our relationships by making conscious choices to die in our relationships.
But this is where I struggle with that because you said, according to your, and I appreciate you sharing your barometer, right? You're like, you said, because I can
She's
relate.
happy.
If you're happy,
Yeah.
then I know that I'm doing something good, right?
Yeah, as long as I don't feel I'm taken advantage of, because sometimes it could borderline.
But again, the recipe for life in this regard, the recipe for friendship in this regard, the recipe for a healthy relationship in this regard is both people. That recipe that works for the cake.
Yes,
works,
I agree with that.
Right?
Yes.
So she has to die to her will.
Oh, right.
She has to die to what she wants. This paradigm of happy wife, happy life, that's BS.
Well, that's where the MGTOW's coming from, because really what that turns into is women abusing dudes.
Right.
And I'm not trying to get, that's a whole other podcast. But
it's BS.
Yeah, it is.
I'm in a good, healthy relationship because both of us are good at dying to our will.
And women don't want a man that dies to their will. They may say, but even the ones that say it, they don't really want that. They want, human beings want someone who can stand up for themselves.
Right.
You know? So,
I'll give an example. I'm in a relationship, and when she comes over to my place, you know what she likes to see?
What's that?
She likes to see me cooking for her.
Okay, that's nice.
No. I'm telling you, if she were here, she'd
fire her up.
You must be a good cook. You must be a good cook.
That's not the issue.
I know, but it's the thing. It's just something about that experience. Is that what you're getting
Bingo.
at? Okay.
For her.
I got you.
Like I see him doing it. He's cooking for me. It could be a tuna fish sandwich. Doesn't matter.
I got you.
It's like he's cooking for me.
See, it's not that it's good food.
I understand.
It's that I am dying to my will, and I'm embracing what she wants.
Is this the conversation of love languages?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's life.
Okay.
And she's doing something for you as well, like just the other things, like that she does something nice for you. Like I'm trying to get a feel for something tangible.
Like the reciprocation. I think that's what you're getting
I'm
at.
at her place. She's doing the same thing.
Okay. And you appreciate it. Yeah.
It's the sexiest thing she can do.
Well, because again, love language, it could be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I guess you guys
been
share love language.
I have bad experience sometimes with them, and it's in getting they cook and get really upset when I don't.
React a certain
Yeah,
way
I was
the
talking to
food.
Ruben one time on the phone, and she she told me she was going to cook, and I was like, "Oh, that's great," but it wasn't a formal thing. And I'm on the phone, what I believe to be is it's important to me, an important phone call, and she's getting really upset. You see what I mean?
Well, stop. She should be.
Why?
Because she's expressing her love language to you, and you're like, I don't need it right now. I need to talk to my friend.
But it's also
There's
a form
no
of
buts to that. Stop.
no. But if you're cutting me off, then you're not honoring what I'm thinking, what I'm saying.
I've already heard what you're thinking.
But
And he just told you that
Was I right? I was just saying that.
You're absolutely
Like
right.
that was what popped in my head.
Okay.
what you're doing is minimizing how she feels because of how you feel.
so one trumps the other, right?
No, I think she should understand how you feel too.
It's not a trumping scenario.
Okay. How so?
Remember, you're the one getting upset, not her.
No, but I want to hear. I want to hear.
Go ahead.
Because if you, again, pretty versus beauty,
Sure.
do you want to create a beautiful experience?
Yes, I do. But the conversation was already going.
As soon as you said but, you just took away from every, that's why I gave you that space. I said, do you want to create a beautiful experience? You said, yes, but
Okay, I'm listening. So how do you execute that then?
by being present in the moment.
Okay. So when I'm with her, it could be present. But that doesn't mean I drop everything in that moment to go
Stop.
do that thing.
Stop. That's not being present.
I don't understand.
Because you think present as in attendance.
No, I know what I mean when I say present. That means my time with you is my time with you. And my time with Fern is my time with Fern. And my time over here is my time
Gotcha.
there. That means when you turned off your alarm on your iPad, it was because you wanted to be more present, right?
Right.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So I understand present.
So she was upset when
An impromptu dinner. I'm really putting my business out there. But anyway, it's fine.
No, it's not.
But an
it's your
impromptu.
business with our concern.
Oh, I like that. Okay. So no, but seriously, an impromptu dinner. And it's not, don't get me wrong, but this was first.
I get that.
Okay.
I get that. So thank you for the clarity on the scenario. But it doesn't remove the feelings.
I get that.
Yeah.
Your girl calls you right now. You're in the middle of this. She's like, I just came up with this great thing, your favorite meal. Get home right now. It's really important to me. What do you do?
So now that getting back to my original premise, that's not friendly.
On her part.
That's what I was trying to
That's not
communicate.
friendly.
That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to communicate.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
That's not friendly.
So she's not being friendly.
If we say we're having, and I'm being very practical here. If we say tonight we're having dinner at 7,
Right.
and
Then
then I
you
do
block
that,
it
I'm
out.
with you.
Yes.
I'm
Then
with,
you
like that's a
block it
jerk.
out.
But this was impromptu, and that's why I thought we were going down the road of whatever she says, whenever she says goes, I'm like, no, I can't get with that.
No, I'm not down with that either.
Okay.
So we're saying
All
the
right.
same thing.
Okay.
Because when you put it in the scenario, but it was impromptu.
It was impromptu, and it was sweet. And I said, give me a minute.
It wasn't a plan. I heard it as a planned dinner at first.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I may have missed but that's not what I'm
Got
saying.
you. So,
Yeah.
but we're on the same page that I'm glad that we know what it means to be present in the moment.
100%. I
And
feel very
that's-
present right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that when we're in a good friendship, whether that be male or female, all right, we deserve that face-to-face conversation because guess what? That's how God wants to communicate with us.
Okay.
God does not speak to us until we're still.
I get that.
True.
I get that.
If I have children and I don't speak until I know
They're listening.
they're listening.
Oh, that's so good. And the way you know they're listening is if they're not like fidgeting.
Present
Yeah. Face
in the
Oh,
moment.
like I like the 2 F's could stand for face to face. Not that it does, but
yeah.
like there's another layer there.
Right.
The face thing.
You know, it's funny. We're talking about relationships. Obviously, it was skewed towards romance, but I believe this is every communication because I learned this when we were in Mattress Firm. You know, people would break down or reveal some of their most personal things because you're one-on-one in a store, and it's the first time. If you just ask this one, I'm talking about being sincere. I'm not talking about using a sales technique.
Sure.
No.
But they share their concerns with you. You repeat them back, and you say, "You said this, this, and this. Did I hear everything?" Something shifts, and I realize these people, if they're a boss, employee, husband, wife, what, especially women, especially women, it's the first time someone's heard them, sometimes ever. And I'm a mattress sales dude. You know what I mean? That was like, yeah, that was really a huge, and it's happened so often. I was like, this is a phenomenon.
And every time that happened, you created a beautiful experience.
It was.
You created a conduit for life.
Yep.
You created a friendship.
Yes.
You follow what I'm saying?
No, 100%. There's something very real there, you know?
It's
So present.
Absolutely. You are present in the moment, just listening for how I can help you.
Yep. And did I hear you? And I didn't have to know about the mattress.
So on the sales floor, it fosters the rapport.
Yeah.
Which if you don't have that, you can't have influence. And then in life, that's going to foster the friendship, the connection, and then something is going to be introduced there to break that. Could we talk about that a little bit? Let's say we have this rapport where I'm being selfless, she's being selfless. What interrupts that? What could interrupt it?
So this there's two ways I can answer that.
Okay.
The first one is to identify the same thing that disrupted it in the garden.
Okay.
Which was wanting to.
The enemy.
Okay.
Okay. But like how does he do it? Because I think how the enemy interrupts it can be also applied to psychology if you take the Bible
Sure.
out of it too, in my opinion.
Sure. So if we take the Bible truth out of it and the friendship gets disrupted when we have opposing wills, okay? The friendship happens when the impromptu dinner.
Oh, impromptu dinner from the tree.
Right.
That was an impromptu dinner.
Right.
In the garden.
Right.
Sorry,
So the dinner was the center of our attention.
Okay.
We're eating from this tree.
Okay.
Not necessarily a good time, boo, but okay. All right, hey, man, let me call you back, man.
I was talking to God.
Right. We finna have dinner now. I'm gonna hit you back. I gotta go.
Okay.
All right.
And God's like, wait a minute. Like,
Right.
We're face to face.
Right.
But you're going to go have dinner with.
So in that moment, what breaks the friendship is I don't want to eat this. I want to eat this.
And the eating is a metaphor.
Oh, I got it.
Okay. Two different wills.
You know, it's funny. Yeah.
That's what separates, okay, friendships. That's how things come in that disrupt the friendship. Now, at that moment, here's the beauty of it. That Adam and Eve ate the meal together. So they were united, all right?
But doing the wrong thing.
But doing the wrong thing,
Yeah, I get that.
okay?
Oh, like
Okay.
gang members. They're united doing the wrong thing.
I was thinking Bobby and Whitney.
Yes.
Yeah.
that could be-
You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
yes.
they really loved each other, right? So, at least, you know. go
So
ahead.
in so doing, all right, they were separated from life. And I keep going back to this. When you're separated from life, you're also separated from peace. When you're separated from peace, you're also separated from joy. When you're separated from joy, you're also separated from contentment. So if I know that me asking you to eat of this is going to separate you from life, if I'm your friend, I won't require that you do that with me.
What if you keep asking?
It's not friendly. See, now you have to make a decision as an adult man, being responsible for your beautiful experiences, being responsible for your peace, to separate yourself from something that's pulling you to a place that you don't have the desire to be.
I'm glad. Wait, I'm so glad you said that because the thing you just said, we're talking about making her happy, etc. This is where the battle in my mind is because there's a comedian who's really popular named Patrice O'Neal. You familiar with Patrice O'Neal? He passed away a few years ago. He's super, and he gave advice, definitely secular advice on a relationship. He goes, "My happiness comes first," and there's something about that really hit me. It's counterintuitive, but it's very true. And what I found is, and I'm making a generalization here, but I believe it to be fundamentally true. When I see the guy who makes the woman thinks he's living in an R&B video, he's like, "Oh, I live for you. You're my everything."
Right.
Not only does it make him weaker, but it's actually a form of manipulation.
Okay.
Yeah. But the guy who knows how to make himself happy, or at least focuses on figuring that out, is doing exactly what you just said, Pastor, which is, hey, as an adult responsible for my own beautiful experience, that may be, I'm not doing the dinner, I'm not doing, and that may be, she has a scowl on her face. You see what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's how you know this is not friendly.
Okay, yeah. So I want to get that's what I was going to say. You said, "Is it okay to keep asking?" Right? You said, like, what happens there? It's kind of like
if I don't want cupcakes, then you keep offering me cupcakes.
Keep asking. Think about it in the context of sales. We can keep asking as long as you reestablish the rapport first, right? Like I forget the sales guy's name. It's like the circle of influence.
Yeah.
There's an outer circle, inner circle. In order to get to the inner circle of persuasion. Tom Hopkins. In order to get to the inner circle of persuasion, you have to keep reestablishing rapport for me to earn the right to ask you for the sale again, to ask you for influence again. The minute I break that, if I try to influence you without rapport, control.
No, that's actually how you cut it off.
That's how you cut it off.
If I want to walk a customer out of my store, if I don't want to deal with them because it's bad, I'll just keep asking them to buy. Oh, is this coming green? Yeah. Do you want it? No, I don't. Does it? Yeah. Do you want it?
Good.
You know what I mean? Because I want them out. So it's actually a way of separation.
Yes.
That's good. But let's be honest. If we just be fundamentally honest, everybody ain't for everybody.
And it's complicated.
I know that sounds, mundane and just insensitive, but it's absolutely true.
Yeah,
all right.
I agree.
Because here's a reality. Okay. When we're successful, you know what? We choose culture more so than color.
Okay, explain that.
Wait, that's good. Okay. What
Absolutely. Do you mean? Successful people choose a culture that they identify with.
Oh, versus color. You're talking about skin color? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. We choose like-minded people.
Absolutely.
Okay? Yeah. Same thing goes with a relationship. All right? You know I don't eat pork, boo.
Why do you keep doing that?
Why you keep cooking bacon? 'Cause I think you should have some bacon every now and then. Okay. All right. Appreciate it.
It's like you think that you're trying to influence me.
But I'll take it a step further. If you want to, because it's like if you don't eat pork, I think of that as in a way of like a form of like self-development or self-help, like health. You're conscious of your health, right? Jesus said, who was it that said, "Hey, if you can do this, don't get married."
Oh, Paul said.
Yeah. Paul was MGTOW. You know what I'm saying? So in that way, having a relationship with a woman is almost like a weakness. If you think of it, if you
yes
go,
and no.
You know what I mean?
Yes and no. Yes, it is a weakness that builds strength. However,
you can say that, but I know me. I love the presence of a woman, of a good woman. The way they smell, the hair, the soft, right? But if I was wired in a way where I could navigate life happily without that need or that whatever, my life would be extremely simple. And I'm making a joke here, but I'm not. The number of pillows on my bed, I'd have 2, not 10. I don't know a woman with 2. And I'm being literal, but also.
But may I say, at what cost?
But I said I'm wired to. Let's just.
But we don't know what. We also don't know what that's going to cost. For example, I don't own a private jet. I see people flying around in private jets. Man, that looks so luxurious. I could get from here to Paris in 5 minutes. Have a speaking engagement.
Got it.
I don't know what it takes to maintain a jet, and if I did, it might be a nightmare.
Right. I say the same thing about marriage.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It might be a nightmare.
Here's where I'm 59.
Okay.
So this is 59 talking.
Okay.
And this is a pastor talking.
Sure.
This is where we have to believe what God said. It never said that Adam was unhappy.
It didn't say he was unhappy. It said he was. So he was happy. Then
I'm gonna believe he was content. I'm gonna believe he had.
Even though she's the one.
Listen, you gotta listen.
Okay, I'm listening.
I believe he had 2 pillows.
But he could also be on that 2 pillow, being like, why'd you have us eat that apple? I mean,
Oh, well,
Stay
there's
with me.
before and after.
You're thinking too much. Stay with me. I believe Adam was content
how so?
because it never said he was unhappy. Stay with me.
Okay.
But then God said, it's not good for man to be alone.
Oh, you're talking about before. I'm sorry. I think you were talking about before. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I got that. Yeah.
Yes.
I felt that, but that's what I'm saying. The hypothetical, and maybe it doesn't exist truly, right? Because you hear every scandal in all religious organizations. For the most part, it's sex and money. There's no food obesity scandals in church for the most part. It's going to be it's the pastor had the affair or whatever because it's that. You know what I'm saying? It's so I agree with you. But what about the person? Is there a man who can be completely fulfilled legitimately?
So again, I want you to look at two different paradigms.
Okay.
One paradigm is a place of contentment.
Yes.
Let me give you a definition for contentment so we can move from here.
Sure.
Contentment says that I can't get what I want until I want what I got.
That's what contentment says?
That's what contentment is.
Is that another way? Another way of saying that is I've had enough.
No. Okay. So I want a Ferrari, right? But once I get a Ferrari, I better want that Ferrari, or else I'm going to want a Mercedes. Like I have to actually want what I have.
You have to already bingo. You have
Okay.
to already be at a place where I am whole. I am complete.
Got it.
I am
Got
satisfied.
it. Yep.
I love my two pillows.
Got it. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
good with the two pillows.
Absolutely.
Okay. But then the other paradigm is that the additional pillow is an upgrade to me, not to be confused with an upgrade to my condition.
It's not fulfilling a void, is what you're saying. It's an upgrade to what you already have. Is that
Absolutely.
what you Yes, I
Because
got that.
people who are not content by themselves
Yeah.
will not be content
Yeah.
in a relationship.
1,000%.
That brings us to the shadow work.
You-
Who we are going into the relationship. What baggage are we bringing? Going in our dark side. Have we reconciled our
Right.
dark side with the light? And so that when I step into that relationship, I'm coming from a place where I'm whole and complete, happy, content.
But does that exist though?
I
Sure
don't
it
know.
does. Sure it does.
You think there's people who are complete walking around on earth like,
You're looking at one.
okay.
You're looking
Okay.
at one.
Okay.
Not a myth. It's I'm content. Paul said, I learned how to be content.
Oh, it's a skill that you develop. Like, so you might hear someone say, well, is there a perfect communicator? No, but I know some pretty good ones that are like A+.
I see.
And
Yeah, you're the guy on the bench.
And I will say this too, because you asked a good question. Because when you meet someone who's content, it's really difficult to have a conversation with them. You know why? Because you can't really identify with where they're coming from.
I can see that. I just I do see that. I'm skeptical because you said you got a girl. I think they bring in that it's.
But I was content before I had the girl.
I believe that.
I didn't lose my contentment because I gained a lady friend.
So my question to you is,
I want you to wrap your mind around
say that one more time.
He
Say
was
that one more
content
time.
before the woman.
I was
I got
content
that.
before I had the lady in my life.
I got that.
I didn't lose it when she
she
came
came in.
into my life.
Now, there's
So are you
reasons-
saying that you never argue then?
No, we don't.
they break rapport like they're human? They're going to break
No,
rapport.
he said you doesn't
Oh,
argue.
you don't argue?
Don't argue.
Okay, interesting.
No.
Well,
See that look right there? You-
because I'm
Honestly,
skeptical.
I'm kind of with him on that one.
I'm skeptical.
Not
because
because of you. Yeah, I'm skeptical of that.
I'm
too.
skeptical
I don't
because-
think you're lying though. It's
Yeah, no, I'm
Appreciate
saying
that.
it's a compliment because I'm genuinely curious. I'm not saying it's not true, but it's like if you say you flew here on an invisible hovercraft, I want to see the hover. I want to see it,
Sure.
or I shouldn't use
and this
invisible.
is coming from two guys that are very argumentative by nature. So
Yeah.
maybe we can't like.
But I think it helps that you know that I'm in union, I'm in partnership, I'm in friendship with someone who was also content
Got it.
before we partnered together.
And her person, and I'm also thinking there's going to be a personality thing too. Like, let me ask you: before you gave your life to Christ when you were 18 years old, would you have considered yourself a pretty? Yeah, because I would think you right now. My first impression of you is a pretty mild mannered guy, fairly.
Yes and no.
Okay, but you
there-
weren't like and then all of a sudden you got saved, and you're like, okay, now I'm chill.
No.
You were always pretty.
I'm more of a gangster.
Really?
Quiet,
Right.
calm, and
Calm. But if we have to do something,
I got that.
Something's gonna go down.
Exactly. So here's my point in saying that.
So I'm not cool, calm, and collected.
No.
Yeah,
I got
right.
that. You could shift, and I'm not taking away from that. I get that.
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is that I believe in match of personalities. If you want to say, "Hey, I'm calm by nature," she's calm by nature, we don't argue. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's."
Those ingredients would make sense.
But me, and if I can say with Fern, if you're like, "Oh, we don't," I'm like, you see what I'm getting at?
So I think this gets back to my other premise, and that is the best part of a relationship is friendship.
But it still doesn't answer personality, though.
So I'm hoping that we understand that a good relationship between male and female happens as a result of a good friendship.
I got that.
Oftentimes when I counsel couples, I'm doing everything I can to get them back to a place of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most difficult thing to do, to get back to a place of mutual admiration. It's also simple to do.
You think so?
You know why? Because there's a song that a guy wrote, said, "I was tired of my lady. We've been together for too long. I didn't know that you like pina coladas."
Yeah.
And getting caught in the rain.
He discovered something new about her, even though he'd known her for so long.
That's it.
Wow.
So
And what happened? She was always that person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What tends to disrupt the friendship is the compliances that we levy on people, the task that we levy, the legalities that we levy on people. And when I levy a task on you, when I levy a compliance on you, I remove the grace. Friends are very good at loving people where they are from where you are. How do you know if friendship exists is when somebody, "Hey man, I'm just calling to check on you. Good? Yeah, man, I'm good. Okay, cool."
Yeah, they're kind of law and grace are antithesis. They're
That's it.
law and water.
I get you.
That's it. So when we are friendly with people, we are conduits for life. When we are friendly with people, we are reservoirs for everything that's healthy and whole. We're a table spread in front of people who have been in drought and dearth and starvation simply because people are not listening to them.
I love everything you're saying, and we gotta do another one of these. But I want to send you, because you said you haven't heard of MGTOW. I gotta send it to you because I'm picturing a MGTOW guy who's lost his kids.
Sure.
And this hasn't happened to me. I'm very fortunate, but it's a growing movement because it's a lot. It's not a couple. You know what I mean? Who have done what they believe they've done, what you're talking about, right? And it's destroyed them. And it's a lot of these guys. So I'm not building an argument here. What I'm saying is I'd love to be a fly on the wall when you talk to one of them, because philosophy is good. What I'm hearing is philosophy, right? These are principles. I hear that. But what are we going to, like Richard Pryor said to his manager after he had all these great ideas, like, "Oh, that's great, but what are we going to do on Monday?" You know what I mean?
So that becomes more of a counseling issue.
Yeah.
But
I'm talking about the tangible, still just best practices on tangible. You gave me the cooking for in the kitchen. What does that look like for that guy?
I'd have to talk to that guy.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
no, I'll give you.
When I'm counseling people, we have to be clear on where that person is.
100%. I'll give you tangible examples. It's all over the web. We can. It's everywhere, so it's
Right.
not a shortage. But I'd love to see what you would. You could look at the thing, the video, whatever, and say, "This is what I would tell him."
Yeah. Well, I think clearly the place that we all need to be at before we get into a relationship is contentment.
Okay, I agree with that.
And you can't get to contentment fearing contentment. Okay?
I'd love to dissect contentment. How do we get there? How does someone get there?
I can't get what I want until I want what I have.
So appreciation, gratitude.
Embracing.
Yeah.
Okay. Embrace.
That becomes easier with age, and that's one thing I love about my 40s. Man,
I will give you that. Again, you're talking to someone who loves what thus saith the Lord. I believe what thus saith the Lord, but I had to learn how to be content.
I think it's also a decrease in biologically, at least for me. some testosterone plus exhaustion plus experience equals wisdom in a way, because I couldn't talk sense to 20-year-old me.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And on that note, you actually gain testosterone
Oh yeah, but yeah, by lift exactly.
when you believe what thus says the Lord. Yeah,
Biologically.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah, well, I believe that. Yeah,
No, I'm doing okay.
Man, I think people feel like I don't personally look at it as a negative, and I don't know if I'm losing testosterone. All I know is that I'm becoming more and more the old bull, where I'm like, no, I don't need to do that. And if I had to, have you ever seen
that tends to happen.
Yeah.
Stay with me, because you don't believe what he said. See,
That's not the only way. That's another conversation, because that's not the
Yes,
only way. That's not the only way.
That's another long conversation.
well, no.
Yeah.
He said it's not good for men to be alone.
Sure.
No, I agree. Yeah.
That's a different. I wish we had another 2 hours. I would go down that road.
Yeah.
So we heard from the pastor. What is one of the elements of a happy relationship? It would be going into it content with life as it is without somebody else. Was that good?
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing that kind of sabotages that, and then you do 1-in-1 as well, and then we could just. I
didn't have a point to make. That was good. I mean,
So we'll go from him, and an element that would make a relationship work, and one element that makes a relationship not work, in your opinion, from your experience. We're going to let him go first, and then you'll go.
Okay, gotcha.
What makes it work?
Yeah, one thing we know what makes it work. You kind of explain that contentment, and then one thing that would sabotage that.
When we're no longer friendly.
Okay.
And I think each of us know when we're not being friendly.
Okay.
When we're being selfish. We know when we're being selfish, when we're being inconsiderate.
Okay.
We know when we're being inconsiderate, when we're not being present in the moment. We know when we're not being present in the moment. I categorize all of that as not being friendly.
Okay. So the lack of friendliness, breaking that friendliness it severs the contentment in yourself and the other person.
Absolutely.
And then there's separation. What about yourself? What do you think? One element that makes a relationship work, one that could sabotage it.
I don't feel comfortable giving the element that makes a relationship work, because I don't have faith in what goes on behind closed doors, to be honest with you.
Okay.
There's what's in front, and then there's what really happens, and I'm just so skeptical. But I will say this.
From your experience.
So my experience, what I'll say is that I really like what you said about selfishness, but I'll just slightly disagree just for myself. I guess I'm just a very slow learner. I had to lose a lot to realize what selfishness was. Because to me, selfishness was like water to a fish. You could tell me about it all day long, but what are you talking about? I'm just being, and then it's like,